I have finally figured out Path of Exile. I know how to make a character. I figured out the passive tree.
お前はもう死んでいる。何？
Hi, Zizaran here with another video for 3.17, and now we are going to be talking about the Atlas passives, which just released, and I just spent like 4 hours looking over every node and doing some theory crafting. So that is what this video is going to be about. I am going to tell you what the absolute best nodes, how you can make 100 exalts per hour and all that like crazy clickbaity stuff. But no, we have a lot of like different trees that I looked up. So first, for every tree, there are map problems that like you would most likely rush a lot of the map nodes because we're gonna have a lot less map sustain and we just don't know how that is. We have some really good map ones. We have Shaping the Mountain, we have Shaping the Skies. There are map nodes here that are really good. And there are also Shaping the Valley and Shaping the Sea. And what's really beautiful about this tree is you get insane FOMO no matter what you do. It's really good nodes. In fact, we could already just point out some really bad nodes before we start talking about trees. And that is, for example, Votive Horde, because it takes up a suffix, and if you reroll the item, if you craft it, it loses its socket. And then you also have Trial of Glory is pretty bad, because have to do lab trials, and that just never is fun. And there's just like there's very few bad ones in my opinion. Now, something that's really nice about the Atlas is it gives us a lot of autonomy over like what we want to do. Like it really lets you like choose what different content that you really like. Now, something that's really bad is that we don't really have enough points. They clearly made it like a hard choice. Now, this is really good in my opinion, but that also means that you're pretty much, no matter what you do, you're going to get players going like, well, what about that? Or what about this? Now, one thing that is kind of bad is it's kind of hard to get an omni tree. And by that, I mean, it's hard to get a tree that you never want to respec. It's hard to have a tree that's like both bossing and mapping stuff. You very clearly get rewarded for, ooh, this is my mapping tree and ignoring bosses, or ooh, I'm gonna spam bosses. So because of that, I'm kind of hoping that we have two different trees to swap between, or that they'll consider letting different characters have different trees eventually or something. But it's going to be kind of rough respecing very often between like doing bosses and not. So there's very hard choices. I honestly think this is the hardest choices that we've ever had to make. I've made some different trees. The one I'm looking at right now, I was thinking like if I was a software player, what would I do to make money? And we'll link to these trees in the description down below with which ones. So I'm going to call this the software start / new player friendly tree. And honestly, most likely I would probably go up here, grab commission officer and Shaping the Mountain and Shaping the Skies. That's the safe advice because map drops might be garbage in the start. So doing that for a lot of things might be the safest. That's also what I'm doing myself. I'm rushing that because we're not getting the normal Atlas bonus anymore. And I think map drops are going to be kind of rough. Obviously, you can respec these. You will be able to use Orb of Unmaking, which you can buy from Kirek for 2 regrets. And they're going to drop a lot more often than before. Other than that, I'm going to be going over here and we'll talk a little bit about the nodes we pick up on the way. This is kind of whatever. You can absolutely, especially if you don't like bestiary, you can just do this as well. That is another option. Because we are going to be kind of tight on points, so that's not a bad one. And then Blight is a really good revenue stream early on. So this is giving you anointed jewelry and a 10% chance to contain an oil extractor. And it basically destroys the anointed item and has a chance to extract an oil. So let's say that you find something that's a really good anoint and you're not going to use the amulet, you can extract it and maybe get a gold oil. Really good source of revenue early. Immune response, you kind of don't want to take early. That's just when your build gets better. And we're focusing very hard on rituals. We're going to take all the ritual stuff and all the blight stuff. Blood-filled vessels, that's for like buffing your ritual and juicing it up. We're also taking some other nodes that are worth mentioning. Seance, and which is like just minions being touched by ghosts. And we're taking pretty much all the ritual nodes. Escaped experiment worth mentioning as well is just going to be a rogue metamorph walking around the map. You kill it and get a bunch of rewards. Exiled will And Ruckus, that's going to be loads of ghosted rogue exiles. This is all fairly rippy stuff, but it should be really good currency for softcore players especially. So this tree is softcore trade in mind. And this is more quantity items dropped by possessed monsters in the area. And oils found at a higher tier, more additional bosses. And this one's kind of mandatory for doing all the ritual stuff. Now, already by taking all this, most players that are watching this that are new might be out of points. And then if you do have more points, I would take like the additional expedition stuff here. That would be like the last thing you take. And you respec out of the map stuff in the middle once you kind of feel that you've got a decent pool of maps and you're starting to juice your atlas enough. But that's also going to be something that we're going to be kind of playing it by ear a little bit and seeing like how are map drops. Can we drop them? Maybe we can't. This second tree, I'm going to explain less, but this is like, I made this with like, if I was a software player and I was juicing my maps, especially if I have a headhunter, that's kind of what I would like to play. Honestly, and also a lot of those players just watch Grimro, MP, and other software players that I actually play software. But this would be my tree for that. I'm not going to explain that much on that. Then I have two different trees, and this is more like solo self-found or what I would be doing. So first I'll explain my own tree, and this is going to be for those that want to like boss and stuff like that. I'm going to be rushing commission officer. I have 5 hours to hit commission officer, and then I'll get a second Kira commission, giving me 2 rerolls at midnight, which is really good. I need that for the race. So I cannot die while leveling. After that, I'm going to take prolific essence, and I'm also going to take spoils of war to help with like doubling the rares and just getting more gear and essences, obviously. Then I think I'll take more of the essence nodes. All of these are like more essence nodes. There's another one down here that I might take. We'll see. Another essence node here. After the essence nodes, I will probably take harvest. So I'm focusing a lot of my early stuff for soul self-fund is front loaded towards gearing. So obviously essence and harvest, very big part of that. Most likely will end up taking the other essence node over here. After that, I'm just rushing the boss spawning nodes. For every atlas, a lot of the boss nodes, we just don't know how good they will be. And there's some things we don't fully know what is. Like the flame tongue things, etc. Flame breath. So we'll see about those nodes. I don't know how I feel about this, to be honest. The most choice, it's basically one less fight per 10 way for the Maven. And these are very, very good. This is kind of sketch for hardcore. But yeah, I'm going to try to win the race. That's my goal there. If I made a generic solo self-fund tree, this is what it looks like. So you can see a lot of essence, a lot of harvest. And we're also going to take all the ritual stuff that I can get. This is very full on points too. Only 10 points left. So this is basically completing every map. So again, ritual, harvest. I would probably spec into this and then do all my bestiary missions and then spec out of it. But obviously, especially for solo self-found, bestiary is very good. I want the split beast and spider, and I want imprints, and yeah, I want the less common variety. So that's pretty much what I would do there. This is the last thing you could take, or just spec into it for doing bestiary. Other than that, I also have the incursion stuff. Incursion is going to be incredibly strong this league, especially because obviously the new influence thing is a implicit, and the incursion stuff, they don't have implicits anyway, and they're very, very strong items they're very easy to roll strong items. They're the percentage life and flat life chests, 48 cold rests and 50 cold damage gloves, all these things, right? These are very easy to get good items on, and then buffing them even stronger with the new influence stuff. So pretty excited about incursion for this league. Soulfight Infusion, this is so nice for just passively mapping and delving. And then we have the Conquered Conquerors. I think this is going to be really strong. Obviously, I have 1 Conqueror's Exalted Orb, so you have an easier chance to get influence. Again, really depends on how strong these are going to be. Maybe we're going to spec into them and farm and focus one boss. I really don't know. Like, this is going to be a play it by ear situation. And then I really like the idea of this. There's not that many nodes, that many stats on jewels. So I really like the idea of having this and trying to get some really strong, especially minion jewels could be insane. Very excited about that. A lot of this is just personal choice. It's so hard, and there's so many good nodes. Some people don't like ritual, and ritual's very big opportunity cost here. You can take that. There's really, really strong legion nodes here. Like, there's just so many good nodes, to be honest. And the boss nodes could be really good. There's synthesis nodes. Just mind blown, dude. Same with like these these nodes, the 10% not scarabs and sexton use, obviously very good for software trade. A lot of it is going to depend on what content do you like doing. It's very hard for a streamer to make like this is the best atlas. It's also going to be slightly dynamic in trade leagues with what are people not doing, and that will rise in value. Like maybe the strong boxes will end up being amazing. Maybe so few people are taking the breach nodes that breach nodes will be super value. It'll be a little dynamic. So it's hard for a streamer to just make like this is the best tree. I will try to keep doing updates on what I'm doing as well on Soul Self-Fun. Obviously, in the start, it's going to be very boss focused for the race. Definitely worth just having a look. Like, just search for like your favorite mechanic. Like, you like breach, go look at all the breach nodes and see how that would impact your gameplay. But very cool. One of the coolest things, honestly, I think the only thing cooler that GGG have added is the masteries, and this does not have masteries yet. Might get it in the future. If you're wondering, like, pretty much the start of the atlas is not gonna be a bad idea to do this. That's just because we don't know how map sustain is gonna be, but this is a pretty good example. This depends on how much you want to use Fortune Favors the Brave early on. On Trade League, obviously, it's the one that gives you like a random map thing. On Trade League, it's really, really good because you can get enough chaos, but on Solo Self-Fun, you might struggle with chaos. So on Trade League, if you're using Fortune Favors the Brave, really, really good. It's not too bad for the traveling nodes either. So you could just do the entire thing either way, even if you're on SSF and not use Fortune Favors the Brave. If you don't understand the difference between shaping the mountains and shaping the skies, this is that every unique boss, so probably like 30% chance if you have like triple map bosses, will add a free random craft, but I can sometimes it'll add like, you know, free ritual. Sometimes it'll add something free random something else. But on this one, this is a 3% chance on killing, you know, finishing the map, so killing all bosses. It'll give you any. So it's ritual every time this procs basically. But yeah, this is pretty much what I would do at the start. We really don't know what map drop rates are going to be like. That is, hopefully you like the spitballing and me throwing some ideas out. I will have my, like, atlas posted as well, and we'll post all 4 of these. Which is sort of like what I would do and different ideas. And again, like Blight, for example, is a pretty, like, good way for new players to make a lot of currency. So, I hope this video helps. Hopefully I've explained some of my thoughts and thought processes that'll help make some of your choices better. And focusing on one thing is a really, really good way to make a lot of currency. So keep that in mind. Oh, and if you're wondering, especially why I'm focusing so hard on ritual is just insane currency, and it's just so many good things like Blizzard helmets, and ritual's just great. It's very rewarding. Hope you enjoyed the video. Let me know what you think. And obviously, it's going to be a lot of why haven't you taken this node? It's so strong. There's so much FOMO. So enjoy the video. Thanks for watching. Try to die less than I do. Oh, and sub if you liked the video. Bye.